outcomes. We're going to go ahead up to our toolkit and click your toolkit again, and then grades. This will take you right back to the grades menu. And now to set up our outcomes, we actually need to start with a grading scheme. So we're going to go ahead and click grading scheme. And we're going to take a look at, well, we're going to create a new scheme. So when you click new scheme, it gives you the opportunity to create one. But I've already created a mastery scheme. So instead of making you watch me type everything in again, I'm going to go ahead and open the mastery scheme that I've created. So what you'll do is you'll first give it a name. Again, if we can push this out directly to you, we'll try to do that to save you the overhead. And what this is basically the iLearn version of the Inwood Early College Mastery Grading Scheme. So for each symbol, you'll put the various mastery scores that we can put. And then in both start percentage and assign value, you'll put the corresponding number values. So for example, not yet beginning is a 55, beginning is a 60, so on and so forth. The only one you don't have control over is the start percentage for that very first one. And what that means is that the gradebook looks at anything greater than 0, but less than 55 as a not yet beginning. Some of these numbers may be adjusted. And again, as they're adjusted, I'll push out that information so that everyone has it. And also, again, if we can do anything to just push this out to everyone and remove the overhead, we'll do that. So let's now go into actually creating outcomes. And what I'd like to do while we do this is do it in parallel on iLearn and Schedula, just so that you can kind of look at how the thing you were doing in Schedula, what it looks like in iLearn. So in order to create our course outcomes, the first thing that we did in Schedula is we would go over to our settings page and our course categories page, and we would go ahead and type them in. So for example, 2 of my algebra outcomes, one was graphing and another was modeling. And we would go ahead and put a percentage. So maybe, maybe 10% here and maybe 10% here. In iLearn, this process happens by creating a new category. So in iLearn, what I just showed everyone in Schedula, what we're going to do is in Manage Grades, we're going to click New Category, and then we'll create our outcome as a category. So for example, I put in graphing, so I'll name my first outcome graphing. There's a whole bunch of options here. The weighting of it is just like what we saw in Schedula. So just like here, I put 10% for graphing. Over here in iLearn, I'll put 10%. We'll go ahead and put manually assign weight to items in this category. That will give you some control over your assignment weighting. And we'll go ahead and we'll say for our view options, I believe these are set the way we want them with weighted grade, grade scheme color, and grade scheme symbol. And this is now going to create the outcome graphing. So I'll go ahead, I'll hit save and close. And we now see down here in our grading item, we have a category graphing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a second outcome.
I'm sorry, Jonathan, excuse me. For the display options, which one do we mark for the student view?
Let me go back into graphing quickly and double check that. So for student view, I believe we leave the 3 of these blank. And again, apologies if that changes, and I promise I will let you know if it changes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to create another one. And I'm going to do category. And I believe, what was the other category? I said modeling. So again, I'll take a look. On Schedule, I would have put my percentage in here. On iLearn, I'm putting my percentage in here. I'm leaving these guys blank. I'm leaving this manual. And I'm leaving these checked the way they are. And again, if there are changes to this, I'll try to let everyone know as soon as possible. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to save and close. So as you can see, as you enter your course outcomes, they'll populate here and they'll be left justified. You'll notice that they're not indented or anything like that. Now, once you've entered all of your categories, or all of your outcomes, then as you're giving assignments, you'll want to actually have assignments that you can grade. So first, I just want to reiterate what Mr. Pillisher said. When you create the assignment, in the assignment itself, please do not link it to a grading category. That will make the gradebook go bonkers. So please only create the grade items in the gradebook itself. And here's how we do it. So first, let's say I give an assignment that is aligned to both graphing and modeling. And I'll do the same thing. I'll compare to Scheduler. So in Scheduler, I would be going to assignments. I would be going to create an assignment. And I would enter all of its information in here. We're going to do something very similar in iLearn. So within our gradebook, we're going to go new. And instead of assignment, it's called item. So we're going to create a new item. And we're going to pick select box. This is what will allow us to use our mastery scale. And we're going to go ahead and give it a name. I'm going to be very creative and name it assignment 1. But this next part is important. You want to make sure that in the name of it, you also include the outcome it's aligned to. So I'm going to put assignment 1 hyphen graphing. Then I'll go ahead and down here, I will also align it to graphing. If I want to make any adjustments to the points or the weight, I can do it here. That's very similar to what you would do here in Scheduler. You just do it right here in iLearn. And I'm going to make sure that IEC Mastery is selected as the grade scheme. When we picked Select Box, this is what allowed us to have a grade scheme selected. So it's very important that we pick Select Box. You can add additional things like rubrics. I would advise against it. I would keep the rubrics living in the assignments themselves, but if you want to, you can add it. And then again, I believe we leave these display options blank. I'm probably sounding repetitive at this point, but if there are changes, we'll push them out. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to click Save and Close. You'll notice now that because we entered this as an item, so our assignment 1 graphing, and because that item was aligned to our graphing category, sorry, pardon me, it appears directly under our graphing category and it's indented.
Hey, John, can I just jump in and just say, if when you're creating an assignment, in the assignment you can link to it, to the learning target, and it's not as complicated. So that's just also, like, if you feel like this is a little overwhelming, when you're creating an assignment, remember when I went to Toolkit to create my assignment, I could, if I say is graded, then you can attach it to a standard as well.
Yeah, the only thing that I would caution is that since we create the assignment multiple times for the mastery scale, what could end up happening is then the student will see the assignment appear multiple times, and it might look like they have to complete it over and over again, or they could confuse it with multiple tasks. The advantage of doing it all in the gradebook is they'll only see the assignment appear as a task one time, and then this will be used only for grading.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
And let me actually go through what it looks like with adding a second outcome, just to highlight that a little bit. So for example, let's pretend this assignment 1 didn't only assess them on graphing. Let's pretend it assessed them on modeling as well. So now what we'll do is we'll create a new grading item. And again, I'll do that quick comparison to Scheduler. So for example, we know if we had to align an assignment to more than one outcome, we would go ahead, we would create it, we would hit save, and then we would go right back into assignments. We would click create assignment, and then we would recreate it aligned to a different outcome. And we're doing the same thing here in iLearn. So we've already aligned this assignment to graphing. We're going to go ahead and recreate it. We're going to click select box again. And this is where that piece I said before about the naming convention becomes very important. So we'll give it the same name, but we'll give the outcome name at the end of it. So now this is assignment 1 aligned to modeling. And we'll go ahead and we'll put modeling for the category. And this is a little bit different than Scheduler. In Scheduler, we didn't have to do this piece right here. The reason we have to do it in iLearn is that, unlike Scheduler, iLearn does not allow us to give assignments that have the same name. So Scheduler, I could create multiple assignments that had the same name. iLearn, I can't, but the quick workaround is to just tag that outcome as part of the name. We're going to go ahead. We won't make any major changes to the rest of the settings. We'll go ahead and click Save and Close. And now assignment 1 appears under both modeling and graphing. And when it comes time to grade it, If the student performed really, really well in relation to graphing, but was still only developing in relation to modeling, then I would go ahead and mark them with mastery for graphing and developing for modeling. So the last piece of this is just entering grades. Unfortunately, the screen I'm about to go to will be blank because students have not actually completed it yet. Oh, but you know what? Actually, we may have some students loaded in. Let's see if this will work. And I'm sorry, I rushed to that without showing you. So you're going to click Toolkit. You're going to go back to Grades. And it brings you to the Enter Grade screen. And actually, here it is, your gradebook. And you can go ahead and just like you would in the Schedule a Gradebook, you can enter their grade. Although as I'm saying you can enter their grade, it is not allowing me to click there. I wonder if I highlight this. Okay, so this looks like something that we will have to troubleshoot. Folks who have already used iLearn, have you guys been able to enter grades from this side?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted with the chat. What do you mean by enter grades from this side? Where are you in entering grades?
Yeah, so it looks like when I click here, it doesn't let me type anything.
If you go, can you go up, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you see where it says enter grades. Well, how I usually do it, go to the assignment, assignment when graphing, click on the arrow, and select enter grades.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Pilisher. So just like Pilisher said, go to the assignment one, click the arrow, go to enter grades, and there you go. Under each grade, you can give them their score.